From Washington to Beijing, Moscow to London, Islamabad to New Delhi, defense spending skyrocketed. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, global military expenditure rose by over 6%, reaching an all-time high of $2.4 trillion in 2024. This unprecedented surge has ignited concerns about escalating global tensions and the potential for widespread conflict. Several nations have significantly bolstered their defense budgets, each driven by unique geopolitical and security considerations. The United States leads global military spending, allocating $916 billion in 2023, accounting for 37% of worldwide defense expenditures. Budget allocation, research and development, investments in advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence and hypersonic weapons, personnel, salaries, benefits, and training programs for military personnel, operations and maintenance, funding for ongoing military operations and maintenance of equipment. Concerns driving the increase. The US cites rising tensions with China and Russia, modernization of nuclear arsenals, and commitments to NATO as primary factors for the budget escalation. China's defense budget reached $296 billion in 2023, marking a 6.0% increase from 2022 and continuing a 29-year trend of annual growth. Budget allocation, modernization, upgrading naval forces and missile capabilities, cyber warfare, enhancing cyber defense and offensive operations, personnel, improving training and welfare for military personnel. Concerns driving the increase. China aims to assert its influence in the Asia-Pacific region, particularly concerning Taiwan, and to counter US presence in the area. Russia's military spending rose by 24% to an estimated $109 billion in 2023, reflecting a 57% increase since 2014. Budget allocation, procurement, acquisition of advanced weaponry and military technology, personnel, funding for troop salaries and training, operations, sustaining military engagements, notably in Ukraine, concerns driving the increase, ongoing conflicts and a desire to reassert regional dominance have propelled Russia's defense spending. European NATO members collectively increased defense spending by 18% in 2023, reaching an average of 2.71% of GDP. Budget allocation, modernization, upgrading military equipment and capabilities, joint initiatives, collaborative defense projects among EU nations, cybersecurity, strengthening defenses against cyber threats, concerns driving the increase. The conflict in Ukraine and perceived threats from Russia have unified EU nations in bolstering their defense postures. Military expenditure in the Middle East rose by 9.0% to an estimated $200 billion in 2023, the highest annual growth in the region over the past decade. Budget allocation, procurement, acquisition of advanced defense systems and weaponry, personnel, enhancing military training and compensation, infrastructure, developing military bases and facilities, concerns driving the increase. Regional conflicts such as the war in Gaza and tensions with Iran have driven Middle Eastern countries to enhance their military capabilities. Poland's defense budget reached $31.6 billion in 2023, accounting for 3.8% of its GDP, with a 75% increase from the previous year. Budget allocation, procurement, modernizing military equipment including F-35 jets and Patriot systems, Personnel, expanding and training armed forces. Infrastructure, developing bases to support NATO operations. Germany's military expenditure grew for the second consecutive year to reach $66.8 billion. In 2023, a 9.0% increase from 2022 and a 48% rise over the decade 2014 to 2023. Budget allocation, procurement, acquisition of advanced military hardware including tanks and aircraft. Research and development, investment in defense technologies and cybersecurity, allied support, contributions to NATO missions and European defense initiatives. Concerns driving the increase. Germany's defense budget reflects its efforts to meet NATO's spending targets and enhance its military capabilities amid growing regional tensions. France's military spending reached $61.3 billion in 2023, accounting for 2.5% of global military expenditure. Budget allocation, nuclear deterrence, maintenance and modernization of nuclear forces, overseas operations, funding for missions in Africa and the Middle East, cyber defense, enhancement of cybersecurity measures. Concerns driving the increase. France continues to prioritize a broad spectrum of defense capabilities to address global threats and uphold its international commitments. The United Kingdom's military expenditure reached $74.9 billion in 2023, 7.9% increase from 2022, accounting for 2.3% of its GDP. Budget allocation, nuclear deterrent, maintenance of the Trident program. Procurement, acquisition of advanced military equipment. Concerns driving the increase. The UK's 2024 defense budget increase is driven by rising threats from Russia's aggression in Europe, growing tensions with China and Iran, and the need to modernize its military forces. Key concerns include supporting NATO commitments, enhancing cyber and space capabilities, and ensuring maritime security in volatile regions like the Middle East. The UK is also preparing for hybrid threats, terrorism, and global instability, positioning itself as a leading military power in Europe. India's defense budget stood at $83.6 billion in 2023, representing 3.4% of global military spending. Budget allocation, procurement, indigenous production of military equipment under the Make in India initiative. Personnel, salaries and pensions for armed forces personnel. Border security, strengthening defenses along disputed borders. Concerns driving the increase. India's defense spending reflects its focus on self-reliance and regional security dynamics, particularly concerning neighboring countries. Pakistan's military expenditure was $8.5 billion in 2023, accounting for 2.8% of its GDP. Budget allocation, procurement, acquisition of conventional weapons and development of missile technology. Counterterrorism, operations and intelligence gathering. Personnel, military salaries and benefits. Concerns driving the increase. Pakistan's defense budget emphasizes conventional capabilities and internal security to address ongoing regional tensions. Israel's military spending grew by 24% to reach $27.5 billion in 2023, accounting for 5.3% of its GDP. Budget allocation, Iron Dome, enhancement of missile defense systems, cybersecurity, advanced cyber defense initiatives. Personnel, training and retention programs for military personnel. Concerns driving the increase. The spending increase was mainly driven by Israel's large-scale offensive in Gaza in response to the attack on southern Israel by Hamas in October 2023. In 2024, Iran announced a substantial increase in its defense budget, marking a significant shift in its military expenditure. Budget overview: 2023 defense budget approximately $8 billion. 2024 proposed defense budget approximately $25 billion. Percentage increase approximately 200%. This increase elevates defense spending from about 15% to 25% of the national budget. Budget allocation: Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC). A significant portion is allocated to the IRGC, reflecting its prominent role in Iran's defense strategy. Conventional military forces. Enhanced funding for the regular Army, Navy, and Air Force to modernize equipment and improve operational capabilities. Domestic arms production. Investment in indigenous weapons development to reduce reliance on foreign arms. Concerns driving the increase. Regional tensions. Escalating conflicts with Israel, including recent missile exchanges, have heightened security concerns. Proxy engagements. Ongoing support for allied groups in Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen necessitates increased military funding. Sanctions and self-reliance. International sanctions have prompted Iran to bolster its defense industry to ensure self-sufficiency. Saudi Arabia was the fifth biggest military spender globally in 2023, with its spending rising by 4.3% to an estimated $75.8 billion, or 7.1% of GDP. Budget allocation, procurement, purchase of advanced weaponry and defense systems. Personnel, salaries and training for armed forces. Infrastructure, development of military bases and facilities. Concerns driving the increase. The growth in spending was partly financed on the back of increased demand for non-Russian oil and rising oil prices following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The rapid militarization isn't just about numbers, it's about posture, strategy, and alliances. More joint military drills, new weapons testing, and modern nuclear arsenals. The doctrine of deterrence is again being tested, just like in the days before World War I and II. History tells us that arms races don't just deter wars, they often ignite them. In an era of economic crises, climate instability, and misinformation, the world cannot afford another great war. Yet, the rising defense budgets are painting a different story, a dangerous one. Are we preparing for peace or paving the road to World War III? Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.